This is what the Department of Education should be doing. Hello everyone, I've got some proposals for the Department of Education. First one, no transgender affirming in schools until 18. Second proposal, no sex education and relationship education until 13. And the third one, no Pride Month celebrated in schools anywhere. What I'm going to do in this video is walk you through each point and reason as to why the UK government should take action on this now. The first policy would be no transgender affirming until 18. Affirming children in transgenderism is dangerous. There was a policy report that came out that spoke in a similar vein, and it's clear that many gender questioning young people change their mind. It's up to 90%, I think. And as soon as other students and teachers affirm this kind of behaviour, then all of a sudden that puts pressure on a student to go down the path of taking the drugs and go down the path of, especially vulnerable young people, they're going to go down the path of taking the drugs and having the surgery. And then they might hit 25 and might not want to change. They might realise that doesn't actually help them, and it hasn't actually worked out for the best. There are many cases of people who just change their mind, and by that time it's too late. So we as a society should not be affirming gender questioning young people. We should not be doing it. It should be banned. Teachers who affirm students' gender identity should be struck off. That's how serious this is, because it is harmful to young people. There is much evidence that backs this up, and it creates a whole manner of issues and problems for our society. But one of many things is the safeguarding of women, and in women's spaces and in women's jails, and it goes conversely, the safeguarding in men, in men's spaces. There are reasons why we have spaces for men and spaces for women, and our society should not be affirming people in making a really serious decision. This shouldn't be taken as lightly as it currently is. At present, you need 2 years of living in a gender as an adult before you're allowed a gender recognition certificate. And it should be that in schools it's taken that seriously as well. It's not just something that you can imagine and change. This is something that's very serious, and so it needs to be banned in schools. You're not allowed to get a gender recognition certificate until you're 18. And so it should be that it's kept out of schools until one is 18. No transgender affirming in schools until students are 18 and they're old enough to make that decision should they choose. I'm not saying that we take away the freedoms as adults, but there's a reason why people are, it's an 18 limit on porn, and there's a 16 limit on cigarettes, which might have changed to 18. There's an 18 limit on, there's a reason why we do not expose young people to certain things, and this is one of the things that we should not be exposing young people to. The second proposal, that there should be no sex education and relationship education in schools until 13. I know of schools where you've got year 2s and year 3s waving the pride flag and are changing their gender, and this is confusing for young people. They're not old enough to understand the intricacies of relationships and sexual intercourse, and sodomy and oral sex, and all these things are coming into primary schools, and it should be outright banned. It should be banned. no sex education, no relationship education until the young people are 13. The only education on such matters should come from parents. Maybe, students would ask where, children will ask their parents, where they came from, and obviously the parents can have age-appropriate discussions with their children about these matters. But it is not for the state to be indoctrinating our young people, grooming our young people down a path of, sexual, of a sexual life where their whole life is just all about, sex with a whole range of people and a whole range of experimentation and all these things. It should be kept out of our primary schools. We should be teaching our young people maths and English and working with computers and understanding coding, and these things are business and entrepreneurship. These things are important and worthy of being in our primary classrooms. But sex education and relationship education should be kept out of our primary schools. Our young people should be taught to be kind and generous to each other and not to treat anyone differently, whether they're Jew or Christian or Muslim or Hindu. We shouldn't be treating people differently. We should be treating everyone with respect, but obviously the young people should be encouraged to discuss, among themselves if they wish, and obviously there'll be age-appropriate religious education in schools, but there shouldn't be this pushing of a very hotly contested subject among the people of the UK. And it seems that in schools we have the LGBT agenda taking absolute precedent, and it should be absolutely banned from our primary schools. The third request is that we should not be celebrating Pride Month in schools anywhere. We have flags being raised outside of schools, pride flags being raised above police departments and above fire departments, and it should not be done. I heard recently that you need planning permission to raise any other flag but the flag of the United Kingdom anywhere. Well, where do I see the United Kingdom flag? Yes, I saw it in part with the King's recent coronation, but we did not see it. We don't see it above our schools. Proud to be English and have British values and have freedom in our nation, and we can all freely live together. And the reason we have those freedoms, of course, is because we're a Protestant nation, and as Protestants, we believe that we can freely come to God. As Christians, we believe that people have the choice, and if they want to serve the Lord Jesus Christ, then that will be the most beneficial thing. Obviously, that's my view. But if they don't want to do that, then that is up to them. They are free. But it shouldn't be the case that students everywhere are coerced and groomed into being LGBT advocates. The Pride Month should be absolutely banned from being celebrated in our schools. If people want to celebrate it on their own time, that's their prerogative. If families want to celebrate it on their own time, that's completely up to them. But it should not be this prevailing cultural, moral, state of things that is happening. This way of thinking seems to be taking precedent in our schools, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It should be absolutely banned from schools everywhere. They should not be celebrating Pride Month. So those are my three proposals, and I'd urge the government to implement them immediately. We need a change and shift in this nation. The culture is in moral decline, and we need to put some boundaries around our schools to protect our young people from these things. And our country will flourish. Our country will be all the much better if we stop focusing on a minority view in schools and teach our young people the things that they'll need for the workplace. The maths and English and science skills, the business, the the language skills, all these things which are helpful for the workplace and helps young people explore what they are interested in. And obviously I think it's appropriate for schools to have Christian clubs and Muslim clubs and LGBT clubs, and if young people want to talk and discuss these ideas, I think that's appropriate to do in one's own time. But it should not be that it's thrust upon the whole school community as being something that should be celebrated. And I think the government needs to take immediate action on these three things. No transgender affirming until 18. No sex education and relationship education until 13. And no Pride Month celebrated in schools anywhere. It's been a pleasure, and may the Lord bless you all. As you know, my channel is Christian content, but this particular video, I'm pleading with the government, take action now.